Myself, Lokesh Sharma, nursing tutor in Mahatma Gandhi Nursing College. Today's my topic is immunity. What is the immunity? Immunity has the resistance power of host. The term immunity is defined as resistance offered by the host against any microorganism or any foreign substances like antigens. Immunity are broadly classified in two types: innate immunity and the acquired immunity. Innate immunity also known as the genetic immunity. They are present right from the birth. Then acquired and adaptive immunity, are acquired during the course of the life, during the life of the whole time. Innate immunity, rapid response to a broad range of microbes. They are external defense of the body. They are skin, epithelial surface, mucous membranes and secretion. They are invading microbes and pathogens. They are skin. Internal defense are the phagocytosis cells, antimicrobial proteins, and inflammatory response and innate killer cells. Second, acquired immunity, slower response to specific microbes. They are humoral response. They are also known as the antibodies. They are second, cell mediated response. They are also cytotoxic lymphocytes. They are between innate and acquired immunity. What is the differences? Innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is the resistant to infection that individual possessed by the birth. Then resistant to infection that an individual acquired during this lifetime. Second difference is immune response occurs in minutes. Their immune response occurs in days. Third, prior exposure to the antigen is not required, develops following the antigenic exposure. Fourth are the diversity is limited, act through a restricted set of reactions. They are more varied and specialized response. Next, immunological memory response are absent. Innate, acquired are the immunological memory are the present. Next, respond to microbial antigens that are not specific to some microbes, rather shared by the many microbes. Acquired immunity respond to specific microbial antigens. Host cell receptors, pattern recognition receptors. They are acquired immunity. Host cell receptors are specific. Example, they are T cell receptors and B cell immunoglobulin receptors. Innate immunity, component of innate immunity, anatomical barriers such as skin and mucosa. Skin are the sebaceous glands are secrete the sweats, and then sweats are the higher acidic nature salt, sodium chlorides, then the kill the microorganism. Physiological barriers, they are body temperatures, phagocytes, neutrophils, macrophages, monocytes. Third, natural killer cells, other class of lymphocyte, natural T cells, V1 cells, marginal zone V cell, mast cell, dendritic cells, and complement pathway, alternate and mannose binding pathway, fever and inflammatory response, normal resistant flora, cytokinase, TNF alpha, certain interleukin 1, interleukin 6, interleukin 12, interleukin 8, interleukin 16, interleukin 18. They are interleukin. V and TGF-V, acute phase reagent proteins. They are acquired immunity, component acquired of the immunity. T cells, B cells, classical complement pathway, antigen presenting cell, cytokinase 2, 4, 5. Innate immunity. Innate immunity is the innate-born resistance against infection that an individual possesses right from the birth due to this his genetic or constitutional makeup. Feature of immunity: act in minutes, prior microbial exposure is not required, diversity is limited, non-specific, and no memory are present in the innate immunity. Innate immunity are the type of innate immunity: species immunity, racial immunity, individual immunity. Species immunity: innate immunity towards a microbes exhibited by all members of a given species. Frogs are resistant to bacillus anthrax, while toads are susceptible. Racial immunity: innate immunity confined to a particular race may be absent in the other communities, just like example of the Negroes of Americans are more susceptible to tuberculosis and then the whites. Third, individual immunity. Individual immunity: antimicrobial defense mechanisms that are confined to a particular individual may not be exerted by the others. One exception is identical twins. Factor influencing innate immunity is very old or very young more susceptible to infectious disease. Their immune system are lowered. Hormones, endocrine disorders such as diabetic mellitus, hypothyroidism, and adrenal dysfunctions, they are enhanced susceptible to the infection or other than patients. Nutrition: immune response is reduced in malnutrition patients. They are hormones, endocrine disorders, just like a diabetes, nutritional malnutrition patient, and very old and very young children are more susceptible of the infection. Mechanism of innate immunity: receptor interaction. Following the exposure of microorganisms, several mediators of innate immunity are retracted to the site of infection. The first step that takes place in attachment. The microorganisms, they are the attachment, which involve binding of the surface molecule of the microorganism to the receptor of cell. Innate immunity: microbial surface molecules, repeating patterns of the concerned molecules which are common to most microbial surface, called a microbes associated molecular pattern, MAMPS. Example: peptidoglycan, lipopolysaccharides, teichoic acid, and lipoprotein present the bacterial surface. मैकेनिज्म इनहेरिटी पैटर्न में आता है पैटर्न रिकॉग्निशन रिसेप्टर्स. Molecules present on the surface of the host cell, they are example of the phagocytosis. Concerned regions: toll-like receptors, classical example pattern recognition receptors. There are 13 type of toll-like receptors. Important one are the TLR2 bind to bacterial peptidoglycan, TLR3 bind to dsRNA of virus, TLR4 bind to LPS of gram-negative bacteria lipopolysaccharide, TLR5 bind to flagella of bacteria, TLR7 and 8 bind to the ssRNA single standard RNA of the virus, TLR9 bind to bacterial DNA. Component of immunity: anatomical or physiological vector, antibacterial substances, blood tissue, complement pathway, inflammatory response, microbial antagonism, cytokinase, acute phase, reactant protein. Anatomical and physiological barrier: skin, mechanical prevent entry of the microorganism, produce sebum containing antimicrobial peptides and fatty acids, killing of microbes by intraepithelial lymphocyte. Mucosal barrier: mucous membrane prevent entry of the microbes mechanically and by the producing mucus which entrap microbes. Cilia present the lower respiratory tract people propel to the microbes outside. Normal flora, intestinal and respiratory mucosa are lined by normal flora. Anatomical physiological barrier: they are physiological barrier: temperature, normal body temperature, inhibit the growth of the some microbes. Low pH, gastric acidity, inhibit most of the microbes. The stomach: higher acidic pH present in the stomach, they are kill of the microorganism. Secretory produce of mucosa, saliva, tears. Tears are present of the lysoenzyme to kill the microorganism. Saliva, all the damage of the bacteria with the enzyme. Gastric juice, trypsin, bile salt, fatty acid, spermine and lactoferrin. Phagocytosis. Phagocytosis cells are the neutrophil cells. Macrophages, monocyte are the main component of the innate immunity and rapidly recruited to the infection site. Phagocytosis involves 3 subsequent steps. Thank you.